coming tonight. When I was younger, I would journal all the time, and I still kept all my journals. So my first journal was this one with Hello Kitty on it, and if you open up the pages, the entries where I was really upset, I would actually try to like purposely cry on the pages to emphasize how dramatic the moment was. And I've been journaling ever since. I still journal. And what keeps me going is this quote, and a version of it is in the program tonight, and it's, "I write to know what I think." I find so much meaning in writing because it helps me know where I'm at in life, and I can really follow how my perspective shifts throughout the years. This year, our theme is perspective, and one of the reasons why I love being a middle school teacher is because middle school students, this time in their lives, it is so important in terms of how their lives are shaped moving forward, and their thoughts are so profound, oftentimes very funny, and always meaningful. And so with that, we're going to begin. Just 3 things before we start though. Number 1, we are going to have refreshments outside during intermission, and we're going to be collecting donations for the water project. The 8th grade has been learning about how important it is to provide clean water to people, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. And so our goal tonight is to raise $68, and that will provide clean water for 2 people. The second thing is, please, during the intermission, quickly get a snack to eat and then make your way to the art show. Teacher Karen and all of the students have put together a beautiful gallery, and I really hope that you're able to see and appreciate the work. And the third thing is, please silence your cell phones, because that would be very helpful. All right, so thank you so much. We're going to start.
Missing you. Relaxed water dancing through my feet, tickling my toes, swimming towards the sun, visions that give me reminders of you. I still think of you, Grandma. I can't forget your laugh, your loving laugh. When I messed up my words in Spanish, you helped me fix my mistakes. I just can't forget your laugh. I can't forget you. Sadness comes, sometimes something important comes to my mind. Sadness, happiness, what do I choose? Both the same, both so different. Happiness, sadness, sadness, happiness. So crazy, what do I choose? My mind is spinning because I'm thinking of you.
Hi everyone, my name's Jack, and my piece is pretty long, so just try not to get bored. My grandfather on my dad's side is about as Republican as they get, and for as long as I can remember, he has always had a "Don't Tread on Me" sign in his front yard, proudly representing his membership in the Boston Tea political party. I have countless memories of sitting around the table at Thanksgiving and the conversation quickly veering to politics. Our extended family would argue and debate for hours, even though they all, for the most part, agreed with one another. My dad has always been Republican, but not quite as extreme. Come the 2008 election, I assumed both of them were rooting for McCain. Ever since I was little, I've had a choice, either to stay or stray from my parents' beliefs. The first time I really had to do this, had to make this decision was in kindergarten during the 2008 election. My elementary school, Sugartown, hosted a mock election to teach kids about voting. 6 voting booths were rigged up near the gym, so during 4th period, right before lunch, our class visited the booths. As I was standing in line, waiting for my turn, I was feeling conflicted. Now, for me to explain this, I have to give you some background. I was in kindergarten, so my conceptions of these candidates were severely flawed. Very childish, but my knowledge of them ran no deeper than their looks. However, one thing was clear that election day. The entire school was rooting for Obama. When I got to the mock election booth on November 4th, 2008, there were 10 names with small pictures displaying candidates' faces. There were candidates I recognized, such as Obama and McCain, but I had no idea about the other 8. I stood there for a good minute, wondering who I should choose. And finally, I settled on someone I didn't know, named Cynthia McKinney, who I would later find out represented the Green Party. I chose Cynthia for one reason. I wanted to be different from my parents and different from my school. Siding with one of them meant not siding with the other. And when I got home from school that day, I told my father that I had voted for Cynthia. He looked at me and just laughed. Later that night, the night of the election, I could hear my dad furiously yelling at the TV because McCain had lost. After that, my dad seemed to be in a bad mood, and I wondered if he would remain in a bad mood for the next 4 years. Then something surprising happened. A couple of months later, on Inauguration Day, the air was stiff with disappointment. We watched the inauguration and mostly sat in silence, but then my dad took me by surprise when he began to cry. I was surely surprised. I never thought my dad would cry for the opposite party, but what I witnessed was not him crying from sadness and anger that McCain had lost the election, but he was crying out of happiness and proudness for his country. When I asked him why, he said that we had finally had his first African-American president, and he was proud. Now, at this time, this made no sense to me. Seeing I was in kindergarten, I was confused, and I couldn't understand how you could be so against somebody but cry from joy when they won. Looking back, I realized that I learned something that day. My dad taught me that even though we may think differently, come from different places, when all is said and all is done, when we are all stripped down to our cores, we are more alike than we are different. We are all human. Especially in a time like this, I feel remembering that is imperative, and I'm so lucky to have a wonderful dad who can teach me life's most valuable lessons.
How do people become who they are? Some people may say they are influenced by what their parents do at home. They may say they're influenced by what their friends do too. Or maybe they're influenced by what they watch on a screen or social media. It may even be from something else. I think it can come from many places. Although I am influenced by many things, I will be talking to you about one of the most important ones in my life. A specific person has been with me since I was 2. That would mean that this person is younger than me. I bet before you thought that I was talking about my parents. Trust me, my mom and my dad have had a great influence on me, but today I'm talking about my sister. Lana has done many things for me, even if she thought he was boring or stupid. Every time when we were younger, I would give her piggyback rides, even though she knew it came with a price. She would have to pick me up. And even though she could only get me a centimeter high, she was unselfish and still tried, even though I was bigger than her. Sometimes when we eat food, our parents would put in a fruit or vegetable so that we could have our fair share of it. Sometimes it would be squash, other times it would be eggplant, but my least favorite would be avocado. And when I didn't want to eat the avocado, she cared enough to eat them for me. But then again, I had to eat her cucumbers. Although that doesn't seem like a big deal, it is still a sacrifice that she took for me. And now that she's gluten-free, on Halloween we traded candy that she couldn't eat. She gave me her Kit Kats, Butterfingers, and Twixes, and I gave her my extra Reese's and Hershey's. She was generous enough to give me more candy when I couldn't give her any more. There are many more things that she has done to influence me in my life, but most of them I probably forgot. But anyway, all of those examples are how she influenced me to be more caring, generous, and unselfish. Now, I want everyone to think something. Who inspires you?
name is Chris Green, and I'll be sharing a poem about 3 things that are important to me and the connection between them. Home is where you come from. It's where you're raised into yourself. The place where you feel the most comfortable, and something you'll never forget. Basketball is a great game. It can teach you teamwork and communication. It's a stress reliever, where you throw anything bothering you away and just play the game. Family means the most. They are the ones that have given you this home. For you to grow and thrive, the people that you can count on to help because you're one of them. I chose to write about these things because they're all the reasons that I always try best in academics. I try for families so they aren't wasting their time and money on education, and so I can give back to them all they've given to me. Also, in order to play sports in general, and any level of academics, your grades need to match your talents in sports. If you choose to play sports as a career, you'll eventually have to stop playing and will need something to fall back on to continue to make money. And if I know something besides basketball, I'll still be able to make a living.
What is persistence?
The name?
Hello, my name is Nick. What is persistence? Can you learn it? Can you earn it? Or do you just have it? We all have something that we must give 100% to. But do you give 100% to what is most important to you? Life is a thing that takes a lot of focus. For most people, success comes through hard work and the will to keep trying. I've always thought of the word persistence as an advanced way of saying keep trying, which is true, but yet is so much more. I've learned this directly from a YouTuber by the name of Clark Williams. Now I'm going to give you 2 descriptions, and you tell me which one do you think he is. Person number 1 was born and raised in Chicago. He smoked and stole drugs, went to jail, and was kicked out of college. Was broke for a time and had no job. Person number 2 drives a Mercedes-Benz, lives in LA, and hangs out with NBA players, and talks to NBA draft prospects, and makes over $240 a day. Now, which description do you think describes our friend Clark Williams? If you guess person number 1, you're correct. But if you guess person number 2, you're also correct. Let me tell you why Clark Williams has such an amazing life story. When he was in his late teens, he had no money for a time and had the terrible idea of stealing from a drug dealer. So once he did, he was found smoking in college. From there, he was sent to jail. When everything in his life was going downhill, he chose to not give up and decided to start a YouTube channel. At first, Clark had a YouTube channel that filmed himself playing video games and reacting to sports. In the beginning, he was getting a small number of views, but never stopped making good quality content. Clark showed his toughness even when he was told to take down his channel because he included copyrighted material in one of his videos. He went as far as making 2 other channels. He never gave up. Every time he was faced with a challenge, he found a way through hard work and determination. He turned his life around because he did not want to spend the best years of his life locked up in jail. That's why I feel he is such an amazing inspiration, and that he has really made a change in so many people's lives. Clark is a great example of what it means to demonstrate persistence in what he does every day. Clark Williams gives everything he has and is a reason of hope in the light of persistence. Clark Williams has taught me that you give 100% to what is most important to you. My goal in life is to succeed. I don't really know what I want to do as a career yet, but I do know if I want to succeed, I have to give my all. I've always thought being a politician would be a possible career, but I still don't know if that is the way I want to go. It doesn't matter right now. I don't have a plan. But my goal right now is to do well in school and be persistent in helping build community. So to sum up what I've learned from Clark Williams is that persistence is not a game. It is giving your all to what is most important to you.
I'm happily reading for Maddie Castro. Hi, my name is Maddie, and I'm adopted. Being adopted always felt normal to me because it's all I've ever known. But when I found out we didn't know about my other family, it felt odd. I have an adoption book that my parents made for me, and I have a very faint picture of my biological mom. And there's an empty spot where a picture of my biological sister used to be, but it's not there anymore. I also had a brother who died, and my biological mom named me after him. It's kind of hard to know that I have siblings I don't even know. But there's one sibling who I do know, my sister Aderin. Having a sister is pretty great. Sometimes I forget that I'm an older brother, since we're so close in age, but I like how we get to experience the same privileges and milestones together. My mom has always told me that we are good siblings because we have never fought. All of my friends believe me, but I can assure you that we don't fight. We do annoy each other, but we have never fought and appreciate each other. I have good memories with my sister. We were classmates. We go to national parks together, like Teton National Park last summer. We play outside and enjoy nature. She cares for me, and I care for her. Thinking about her, having had pneumonia, makes me realize how much I care for her. I'm lactose intolerant, and when I need butter on my bread, my sister asks my mom if it's really okay if I have butter. Aderin always stands up for me when I get hurt. When people say to me, "You're fine," she says, "No, he's not," because she knows me and cares. I asked my sister if I am a good brother, and she said yes. I continued to ask about me being annoying, and she said, "No, not at all," which was surprising. I was happy, and these words made me feel accomplished. I feel like knowing that I'm not related DNA-wise makes me feel like a relationship is special in some other way. In my opinion, DNA does not determine a relationship. It's a choice to care. Aderin, I enjoy being your brother. Thank you for appreciating me.
Sorry if I'm late. Good evening. I'm sure you all think you know me already, but do you really know me? Sure, you've seen the play. You probably heard, though he's charming and slick, he's unspeakably sick, this despicable parasite. I'm Jafar, the villain, a ruthless, despicable man who has no capability of any empathy for those around him. I'm everybody's worst favorite. But here's the story of how I was robbed of the power that was rightfully mine. I'm the true victim here. Most people don't know that I'm actually the only child of the Sultan. My stepbrother, Hamed, who you know is the father of Princess Jasmine, was brought into the palace when he was a baby by a gypsy who wasn't able to take care of him anymore. Even though Hamed wasn't originally born into the royal family, he was like a magnet to them. He seemed to draw way more attention than me, and all of a sudden, everyone adored him. I was 4 at the time, and I was confused about why no one seemed to care about me anymore. Even though Hamed continued to get all the better things throughout our childhood, I became accustomed to this, and we managed to become friends. The one thing that Hamed would not win, though, is my father's throne. I was completely captivated by the ways of royalty, the garments, the decorations, the food. My life's sole desire was to be a sultan one day, and I would not let anyone get in my way. My chance finally came years later when it was discovered that my father, who was approaching 70 years of age, had an incurable disease and had a mere weeks to live. Although this was devastating to hear, as my father and I had a strong relationship, but I personally felt it was time because my father caused Agrabah to decline rapidly. But then Hamed told my mother, the queen, that he wanted to be sultan as well. This was simply preposterous, because he wasn't even born into the family. Not only that, but he had no leadership skills whatsoever. Everything was practically spoon-fed to Hamed already, and I had to work for any special privileges. I didn't take him seriously, and I soon got incredibly excited and egotistical, which led to probably my life's greatest mistake. After I had heard my father's prognosis, I yelled, "Finally, Agrabah will have a sultan that's actually competent." Almost immediately, I realized my blunder. You are never allowed to insult royalty in any way, even if you were in the royal family. But to my surprise, no one seemed to be that mad. Granted, it was just me, my mother, Hamed, and a few guards. But I was expected to be severely punished for what I had said. It seemed like I was certain to have a place in the Sultan's throne, and I had a small celebration in my quarters afterwards. It wasn't until a few weeks later that my father passed away. I was obviously very sad, but there was a large ceremony in honor of his life. But because there was no active sultan, the new ruler was to be chosen that day. The way I acted around the palace was definitely a bit cocky, and I could see why everyone didn't particularly like me at the time. What was incredibly shocking was the words my mother uttered. "Please welcome the newest sultan of Agrabah, Hamed." What? There was just no way this could be. I was devastated and felt almost betrayed. Why would my mother do this to me? I just didn't understand what had happened. And also, how was Hamed allowed to be sultan if he was adopted? "Jafar, come here," my mother said. I was already extremely frustrated with her, and I didn't even want to look at my mother. "Maybe you should think twice about saying your family's incompetent," she yelled with clear agitation. "Clearly you don't deserve to be a ruler if you can't even respect royalty." "But mother," I pleaded, "it was just a mistake. I didn't mean any of it." I saw her facial expression turn into a slight frown as she found out it was just a careless slip of the tongue, and I thought she might have at least a little bit of sympathy. But I knew that in our family, words really mattered, and that my fate was sealed. I would forever regret what I said about my family and forever be second to Hamed. And after this, my whole life was basically ruined. To help with my inner pain, I bought a pet bird from an old shopkeeper. Jan was a good friend, but that hasn't really helped me in the long run. Okay? My dreams were dashed, and all I wanted was revenge. That became my new goal and turned me into the evil, dastardly person that everyone knows and no one loves. You see, I was supposed to be the good guy, but because of one mistake I made, it was all taken away from me. It's just not fair. I hope you understand now that maybe Jafar isn't such a despicable parasite after all.
What is friendship? Friendship is like shelter. It offers protection, warmth, and happiness. It gives you comfort and safety. Friendship is like shelter. Friendship is like a bridge. It takes you on many adventures. It sends you across the world in your mind. It takes you to the most unreal places. Friendship is like a bridge. Friendship is like school. It can be hard at times and other times very easy. But no matter how hard or easy it is, you should never give up. When you're knocked down, you should just get right back up again. Friendship is like school. Friendship is like a seashell. You have to be slow and still. You have to listen more than ask. It makes your day when it helps you out of a rough area or gives you a special treat, like the noise inside a seashell. Friendship is like a seashell. Friendship is like the ocean. It can be loud, it can be quiet, it can be rough, it can be gentle. It holds many treasures that just might take years to discover. Friendship is like the ocean. Friendship is like the concrete on the sidewalk. It starts out smooth and then it gets rocky, and then comes to the bumps that you try to get over as fast as possible. And you always want to know them better. Friendship is like the concrete on the sidewalk. Friendship is invisible. Enemies have invisible friends. Dogs have invisible friends. Everyone has invisible friends. Friendship is invisible. What is friendship? It is life. It is the dirt of the earth. It is the sand of the ocean. It is the white bottom of the pool that you swim in. This is friendship. Everything is friendship. Because even if you don't like them and they don't like you, you are still connected in the most invisible ways. Even if they are strangers, you are still friends, because this is what our world needs. This is what you need. You need friends. We all have friends. Your friend might be a dog or a cat. No one should decide your friend for you, because that's not what true friends do.
My first year of middle school and at MPFS has been very amusing and quite enjoyable, especially because of the friends I've made. I was a little concerned and wondered whether I would make good friends or not, because that's the only thing I look for in the first couple of days of school. This year made me realize how important friendships are to me. I like being around my classmates. They're kind of like a second family. That's where we get the fam thing from, family. I'm the type of person that usually doesn't want to go to school no matter what. But this year is different. I hate to say this, but after a while, I started wanting to go back to school when I felt like the school had too many days off for school vacations. Don't get any ideas, teacher girl. But making friends didn't happen immediately. It was much easier to make friends in elementary school because the diversity rate was pretty low. This means that we shared similar ethnicities and we didn't feel different from one another. It was harder to make friends at a new school because we had different opinions on different topics, and sometimes people weren't used to the way I acted. Sometimes our personalities didn't always match with each other. Besides, we just didn't know each other very well. But things slowly started to change with time as we built memories together. The Bear Creek camping trip, the hangout that my sister and I had with other sixth graders and their siblings, and an inside joke about chickens. These moments helped us build new memories together and build a new friendship. Through these times together, we all eventually wanted to learn more about one another. And because of this, we had more frequent get-togethers with one another, helping us learn each other's differences and similarities, and accepting them. Even though we're all closer to each other, we still have problems at times because friendships aren't perfect, but we are learning how to work things out, and this skill helps deepen our friendship. Out of all the things that I've experienced in sixth grade, friendship definitely stands out to me. I've learned that not everything can be done in a fast manner, especially friendships. Friendships can take time and effort, but it's definitely worth waiting for.
Hi, I'm Charisse.
I'm Casper.
And I'm Julia.
Friendship. Our friendship is talking to each other almost every day about the randomest things and only making sense to us. Then one day you can't stop hugging them to the next day being annoyed by them. Even if it means embarrassing yourself in public, they'll laugh at you for a hot minute and then tell you that it's okay and comfort you a second after. When I miss them, I reread our messages and just laugh at what we talk about.
Our friendship is that even though they sometimes annoy me, and even though they sometimes get on my nerves, I wouldn't be who I am without them. My friends are like finding four-leaf clovers. Hard to find, yet lucky to have.
Friends are like stars. They could be 5.88 trillion miles away, but you know they'll always be there.
Our friendship is picking each other up when someone is sad. Our friendship is powerful and unique. Friendship is loving someone for who they are and fully supporting them. Friendship changes, evolves, and survives through tough times. Our friendship is like how siblings treat each other. We laugh, irritate, and make fun of each other, but in the end we look out for each other.
Some may consider us to be more like a small gang than just friends. Explain each other in Mario Kart on DS.
And calling abuse whenever Charisse wins.
And whenever Casper talks, we shake our heads and mouth and we don't care.
And somehow I never noticed.
He doesn't notice a lot of things, like taking pictures of him all the time. It's also Casper making us try to watch Star Wars.
And then making me watch The Breakfast Club.
But you liked it, so it worked.
Friendship is a fragile mess.
But it can also be beautiful.
Friendship requires as much handling as any other precious and fragile thing.
But we wouldn't be anywhere without it.
Hello, I'm Michael, and I wrote a story called Peter and the Ghost. Peter was a man who had no family. He was 49 years old. Peter worked as a maintenance person, cutting grass and raking leaves. His dream was to own a farm. He would always look at the catalogs, but because of his low-income job, he couldn't get one. One day, he looked through the catalog, The Great Farmer, and saw a farm that was half price. Peter wasn't very sure why, but he called the realtor right then and there. He was so happy about the farm, he didn't even look at the description. The next day, Peter went with the realtor to look at the farm. The farm had one silo and a barn. Under the barn was a cellar door. Peter examined it. "This is the cellar," the realtor said. "Some people say they're too scared to go down there, but I'm sure it's fine." Peter didn't hear what the realtor said. He was so excited he didn't listen to anything the realtor had said. He bought the farm. After Peter bought the farm, he bought hogs, chickens, everything that a farm needs. He decided to paint the cellar door, but realizing that he had not been in the cellar, he decided to go in. He cranked the door open slowly. It was an old, rusty door, about the size of Peter himself. The door opened slowly. It was thick and heavy, all of its hinges creaking. Peter opened up the door, then saw a shimmer. It was white, like something being projected in the cellar. The shimmer started to stop. It was getting clearer. Peter wasn't very sure what was going on. The cellar was old and musty, a lot of dust in the air. The whole thing was made of concrete, and it was empty. It was about 20 feet wide and 35 feet long. The cellar was dirty. It had one window letting light in. It was in a hill, so the only spot where there could be a window was where the window was. The shimmer was clearer now. It was a ghost. The ghost had a blank face and wore ragged clothes. He stared straight ahead. "Who are you?" the ghost said, still staring straight ahead. Peter was speechless. "I used to own this farm," said the ghost, still staring straight ahead. "I used to live here, used to farm here, used to work here, used to." The words echoed through the cellar. The place was eerie and weird. There was some silence. Peter didn't know what to do. Then the ghost spoke again. "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Or is it?" I had no fear until Peter was so scared he ran out and called the police. He sold everything he had bought for it. He had sold the house and everything he had bought for it. I went back to being a maintenance guy and cutting grass and raking leaves. Peter learned a lesson that day. Before you buy anything for half price, check for any defects.
Hi, I'm Ken, and I'm also going to be reading a short story. I'm Amelia Jones. I'm an only child, and I'm 17. One day, I went to town looking for a magic store. When I found the store, the lights were on, but the sign said closed. I tried turning the doorknob, and the door opened without a fight. I walked inside and saw nobody, so I called out, "Is anybody here?" But no one responded. I walked further into the store looking for what I wanted, which was a deck of cards so I could show my friends some magic tricks I had learned. The items inside the store were so realistic. There was a magic taser and some magic wands that were in a container, but they were levitating. The voice inside my head told me to buy something different than a deck of cards. So I grabbed it and walked up to the empty counter. There was a small little bell there, so I tapped it and it made a slight ringing sound. Then a guy came to the counter, but when he did, he had 17 ear piercings and was very suspicious. He had about 420 cuts up and down his face and arms. Something was poking my head. I scratched it, but the feeling didn't go away. Then my mouth opened, and it said to him, "Why didn't you answer when I called?" I didn't mean to say that, but the little voice inside my head apparently wanted to. In response, the cashier said, "Are you sure you want to buy this?" But I didn't respond, so he rang up the item and put it into the bag. Then he said, "Do you want the receipt in the bag?" I left the store, never looking back. On the walk home, I thought about what had happened in the store, and how I had snapped at the guy at the cash register. I had never had a voice inside my head before, so why now? And how it persuaded me to do all the things I had done. As soon as I got home, I went into my bedroom and took my purchases out of the bag. I started to open the tool, but I stopped in my tracks, looking at the receipt. Under where it said Magic Taser, it said, "Little voice inside your head." And it was just added on there with no charge at all. And I didn't even want that. But at the very bottom of the receipt, it said in big bold letters, "No returns."
Hi, I'm Liz World, and today I will be sharing my unique take on life. As Tom Hanks said in Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates. That is one take on life, but because I have been blacksmithing for the past year, I have come to the conclusion that it is more like forging a knife. First, the metal is placed in the forge, and the initial heating is done. This is the beginning of the long process ahead, like how your birth is the beginning of a hopefully long life. Then, after the metal has reached somewhere around 1500 degrees, it is taken out of the forge, and the first swings of the hammer make a huge difference to the metal, much like the rapid development of humans during infancy. Soon enough, what used to be a hunk of metal starts to take the shape of a knife, like how your upbringing immensely shapes you. Then, for the next few hours, it is a repetitive, tedious process of heating, hammering until the knife doesn't glow, and heating again, all the while checking how much more it has to be flattened, widened, and elongated, like how in adulthood you are counting the years until retirement as you exercise the repetitive, tedious process called having a career. Finally, the forging process culminates with thermal cycling, repeated heating and cooling to relieve the knife of all stresses built up throughout forging. Sounds a lot like retirement. Unfortunately, it isn't done yet. The knife still needs to be hardened by rapid cooling and oil. There is a lot of potential for things to go wrong during hardening, like the knife cracking and bending. This is like cooling off after retirement, but with full awareness that death awaits you sooner every second. The only thing that makes it better is tempering. The prolonged heating at approximately 400 degrees to soften it just enough that it doesn't shatter during usage. This is like paying less attention to your impending death and more attention to the fact that you are completely liberated from all obligations and you're free to do what you want, like playing golf or binge-watching Jeopardy. Then there is sharpening. Sharpening is first done on power tools and then on sharpening stones. This is like the realization of the sense of wisdom and purpose that all elderly people seem to have. Finally, the handle is affixed, the final step in the process, like death. The middle school will be sharing a song with you about standing in the light. And we chose this song because it's about advocating for yourself, an important thing to do in life. It reflects important values at MPFS, like embracing who you are and being there and being true to yourself. You should embrace yourself. Not only that, you should be proud of who you are and not be afraid to show who you really are. The lyrics are meaningful and apply to many groups of people. We use 5 wonderful practices that were focused on bio to improve last year's. Enjoy.
Dad is going to kill you. what you give, and it's never too late to reach for the branch and climb up, leaving sadness behind you. Fight hard for love. We can never give enough. This is who I am inside. This is who I am. I'm not gonna hide. 'Cause the greatest risk we'll ever take is by far to stand in the light and be seen as we are. To stand in the light and be seen as we are. Riding the storms that come raging toward us, we die. Holding our breath as we break through the surface with arms open wide. With arms open wide. This is who I am inside. This is who I am. I'm not gonna hide. 'Cause the greatest risk we'll ever take is by far to stand in the light and be seen as we are. To stand in the light and be seen as we are. Cause the greatest risk we'll ever take is by far to stand in the light and be seen as we are. To stand in the light and be seen as we are. To stand in the light and be seen as we are.
Return at 7:32.
Talking to you about expanding my horizons. To Kill a Mockingbird. What an interesting title. Reading for years, I only encountered this book twice in my life. I know it is good to expand our horizons, but I just could not wrap my head around why Harper Lee would give her book that title. It wasn't until years later that I finally understood why. I don't quite remember where I was first introduced to this peculiar book, but I think it was at my former school. When I first read the title, I was bewildered. I wondered why someone would write about killing a mockingbird. I thought this was very absurd and put the book down, thinking this would be the last time I would touch this book. 2017, I encountered this book once again. This time I had to read it for humanities class. Being older, I decided to give this book a second chance. Except when I started reading this book, I was reluctant to read it because the beginning was tedious. As I got further in the book, I got sucked in. I kept reading the book, and it became very suspenseful, and at times I couldn't put the book down. I began to get attached to the book. I enjoyed how the book was suspenseful, had an actual message, and took me through an emotional roller coaster. By the end of the book, I learned why it got its name. After this experience, I realized why it's one of the best classic books in the world. This book ties in real-life problems and also gives you a lesson about life. Ever since I have read this book, it has become one of my favorite books. I think I love this book because of the characters and the meaning of the title, and how it gives you hidden lessons about life. I don't want to give away the ending, but there's a part in the book that underscores the consequences for lying. One of the characters I connected with most is Scout. Scout and I are both curious, are tomboyish, are adventurous, and stand up for what is right. One difference, though, between us is that she is white and I am black. I realize that we are on two different sides of the river. She is more privileged and I am not, but this doesn't matter, even though we are different colors. We both believe strongly that all people should stand up for justice no matter what, your race. After reading this book and having this experience, I am so glad I gave the book another chance and decided to expand my horizons.
Music. What do you think about when you hear music? Personally, music changes how I think, how I feel, and what I do. It comes naturally to me. Creating music is my gift. I spent years not knowing what I even wanted to be. I know I'm young, but when you don't know what your purpose is in life, you become mindless and lose everything. Every day was another reason not to do something. Music was always in my life, but I didn't want to acknowledge it until now. It was when I finally started discovering its important place in my life that it gave me purpose. One example of how music affects me and my life is how it links me to important moments. For example, when I want to do something kind of crazy, or something absolutely fantastic, or something tragic happens, I'll link it to a part in a song, or scene in a movie or video game. Whenever things like that happen to me, it makes my mind go in 12 different directions at the same time. I also do this when I create music. I think of a moment to base the song off of, then take the emotion that I felt in the moment and match chords with it. That is when music takes over my entire living state. Music also runs in my family, so it would be obvious that I would be interested eventually. My mom was a choir director, my uncle was in a marching band and has a degree in music theory, as well as my grandfather who used to sing in operas. So I came from a long line of musically talented people. Music is not only an important part of me, but my heritage. It gives me a sense of destiny, that I was meant to play and make music, that this was my purpose. I want to close with this. I want to figure out what happens in our brains whenever we hear our favorite songs. Is it one universal feeling, or is it different for each person? Does it make us feel certain emotions depending on the genre, or is it nothing at all? Does it make us feel focused, or distract us? That is my question for all of you. I shared what music does to me, but what does it do for all of you?
So I took piano lessons for 3 years, and this is me looking back on that experience. The German piano in the Russian home had a remarkable patience and an uncanny habit of going flat on a low beat, but it caused more of an inside joke with my teacher than an inconvenience. The German piano in the Russian home held more dust than it did secrets, but it still had an air that it could teach you things you didn't know before. The German piano in the Russian home taught me secret ways of weaving myself into the notes that I played. Now a new piano, maybe American, maybe Chinese, maybe Swedish, will teach my teachers new students, and maybe the German piano stands without use. But hopefully it knows that I taught a lot in all of its years in the Russian home.
One of the things I'm most passionate about is drawing. It's my flow, which is something you feel focused about and lose track of time carrying out. When I'm drawing, I feel completely immersed in the process. The feeling when I sit down and draw makes me forgetful of time. I become completely regardless of my surroundings and entirely focused on what's in front of me, getting absorbed in it and spending hours drawing. I really enjoy some solitary time or with my cat on my lap, listening to music, drawing silently. I enjoy drawing real-life objects or characters. The process of myself, pencil, and paper makes me feel genuinely serene and calm. When there are moments such as being unsatisfied with my work or attempting something too effortful to draw, I can pick myself back up and keep trying or choose something a little easier to draw. This isn't exactly a burden, rather it is a boost, something that energizes me to grow and get better. If I'm ever feeling sad or stressed, I'll normally go draw, and it always relaxes me. Whenever I draw, I feel oblivious to the problems revolving me, but in a healthy way, meaning that in the moment, it makes me forget about them, but when I'm done, I can look at the problem from all of its angles, making it easier to pursue. I don't intend for this to accompany me in the future and make this my career, but I plan to do this in my free time. This is because I'm not really into drawing as much now, and don't see it becoming a career for me, and I'd prefer for it not to because I don't want it to become a requirement. Sometimes flows can grow more distant, sometimes they can grow vast, and sometimes new ones can develop. I've become more familiar with things like baking and listening to music, but at the end of the day, I'll always go back to drawing. Everyone has something that makes them feel content or oblivious to time. Consider your experience with flow.
Hall of Fame. No, Hall of the Bears. Lots of votes loved by fans of favorite players, fame. A few players, members forever, even though they must retire. Yao, Asian basketball player, over the other players, 7'6". Ming, in the paint, never back down, greatest Chinese player. Will, incredible, larger than life, too tall. Chamberlain had a competitive nature, a man among boards, meant a lot to Philadelphia, beat Bill Russell once, ever tried to stop him, ran the court, leveled all, a great player, invincible. Never has anyone had a 100-point game except him. Dikembe, impossible to score, kick the ball out, elite blocker, mega blocker, best blocker in the NBA. Every block counts. Matumbo, ultimate blocker, top blocker, overpowering blocks, master blocker before retirement on the Hall of Fame. Magic, amazing team up, great player, impossible to guard, cross the ball, Johnson. Overpowered, heated up, never going to stop, too tall, 6'9". Overall, point guards, none beat him. Dennis, every rebound, never gave up, never backed down, in the paint, steals and rebounds. Rodman, on top of the ball, great defense, many boards, a player who could get into your head and never come out. Kareem, amazing center, reliable teammate, extremely talented, excellent player, MVP award 6 times, adore. Best team up, double NBA championship, ultimate center, loved the game. Jabbar, you were the best to look shots, best in points, and ready to play every day.
How sports impact the world, good and bad, by Austin Atama. It's just a game, and you're right, it is. To think about it, everything has a purpose. A YouTube video is how I came to this conclusion. The video was about a police officer talking a man out for jumping off a bridge. The police officer tried to convince him of not doing the action, and none of his attempts worked till he brought up football. The officer liked the Cowboys, and the other man liked the Redskins, and made it very clear that he didn't like Dallas's football team. The man said he can't wait to see the Cowboys lose to the Redskins, and that he'll live for that. And that's one example in American football, showing the perfect combination of football, team loyalty, and dislike. Next, basketball. I was actually listening to the 2K soundtrack as part of writing the speech. That's kind of off topic. Some fans are so diehard that when their team loses in the playoffs, they cry for days and get depression. But when a superstar or your team is in a bad situation, many fans will show their support for that player. For example, Isaiah Thomas' sister China, her death brought the attention of the country and showed Isaiah a lot of support. Next, the biggest sport in the world, football or soccer. The sport that constantly has fights, with people throwing chairs at other club fans, or just plain attacking people. Some rivalries get so bad that Barcelona supporters are certain to get an unpleasant look in Madrid and vice versa. The rivalry is said to get so intense from politics and the future of Spain, with Real Madrid siding with Spanish nationalism and Barcelona siding with Catalan nationalism. These games, known as El Clasico, have brought TV screening and batting practice with TV as the ball. They have brought crying on the field and meant death threats towards the players on the winning and losing team. Now, ice hockey, winter sport of the year in 27 countries. Hockey has 37 leagues worldwide, and it's referred as the sport soccer on ice. Yet, it even has more contact than soccer, and it's almost impossible to flop in hockey because people can't jump on skates. And it's also a contact sport. This sport has fights between the players due to frustration and bad calls from the refs and sticking up for their teammates. All the sports I named impact people's lives in terms of the players. Some of them are living like kings after a bad childhood and can now take care of their families. Or sports are also a way to travel the world while doing something that they love. Sports make YouTubers famous that were nobodies because they can make reaction videos about the games. It's also a way to get away from sadness or get a reality check. It brings friendship and makes rivalries. It gives you a good reason why not to like someone or why to like someone. Governments use it as a way to settle things, and owners will gladly pay millions for someone who might not even win the championships. So yeah, it is just a game, and games are meant for competing. And competition spreads. Just think of what Earth would be like without sports. Everyone would be obese because there's nothing to do. What would it be like without competition? No one would be considered great. There would be no pride in being the first or the only. No one would be proud of how kid does on the field or on the court. The sport would be totally different. I can't imagine my life without sports.
I'm Tommy, and I'll be reading a short poem. I have one green eye and one brown eye. The green eye sees the truth, but the brown eye sees much, much more. My green eye sees the earth as a beautiful place with many caring people. My brown eye sees the earth with many rights that are not equal. My green eye tells me to do my homework, and my brown eye tells me to do the opposite. The brown eye is a bad influence. The green eye never wants me to have fun. It makes me feel overwhelmed, and it makes me go crazy. Living with them can be a blessing or a curse, but sometimes I don't listen to either of them, and I make up my mind myself.
Hi, I'm Natalie, and I will be reading my poem called My Hard Decision. It was a situation that I couldn't escape. It was toxic and abusive. It became my main focus. It consumed my life. It caused me the kind of pain that is indescribable. I felt alone, but I also felt like someone was constantly with me. What they said would never leave my mind. I was scared. I was scared that I would never be okay. Scared that I would be forever damaged. Scared that no one could love me because I had too much baggage. I was too complicated. I didn't think anybody could understand what I was going through. I was scared to tell people what was going on. Nobody could feel or understand my pain. Nobody could tell me what I should do. I was like a box. I began empty, but slowly I was filled with their hostility, filled with my own pain. It should have been easy for me to decide if I should leave my situation, but it wasn't easy. It was a huge part of my life, and not all of it was bad. But I decided to leave, and I got out of it. But it wasn't relieving. It's never easy to leave someone behind, and leaving didn't change what had happened. Leaving didn't mean that the past was forgotten.
Margot Sissel, and this is a story that I wrote. Warning, it contains mature themes. Someone was following me. They followed me everywhere. For 10 years, I was scared of this person. So one day I stopped and I turned around, but no one was there, so I kept walking. I didn't hear footsteps, but I knew someone was there. So I turned around again. No one was there. So I waited a few minutes, but no one came out. So I kept going. No one followed me the rest of the way, or no one that I could see. This person wasn't my friend, but wasn't my enemy. We were the same, yet complete opposites. They wouldn't leave me alone. They had to do something to me. But what? Why? They were after me for a reason, but I didn't know what it was, or at least I didn't think I knew. This person was me. I had done something and the guilt wouldn't go away. It stayed with me. It followed me. I did this 10 years ago, but it stayed with me. My guilt was still there. When I did ruin someone's life, I still felt guilty about it. I hurt someone, not physically, but emotionally. They broke down. They went to rehab because of me. They were taken from their family. They became a threat to everyone, all because of me. It destroyed a family, a town, a life. They never forgave me, so I never forgave myself. For the rest of my life, the guilt would follow me. They will never forgive me, because now they're gone, forever. The person went crazy. Rehab was the thing that really broke her, but I led her to that point. One day, she was just done. She just jumped. No one saw her, but everyone saw it coming. I led someone to take their own life, and I had to live with it forever. The girl was my friend, but after an incident with her family, I left. I left her to deal with it alone. No one was there to help her. I didn't know what I had done until it was too late. No one told me until I came home. I didn't know that me not being there would take her to this place, but it did. She felt alone. She felt like the world was against her. She stopped caring, and after a while, she stopped living. After someone dies, all you can do is wish. Wish that there was something you had done differently, or something you could have done to change the past. But now there is nothing I or anyone else can do for her, because she's gone. When I came back to town after she died, I didn't know what had happened yet. Her mom came up to me sobbing, and all she said was, "It's your fault." I didn't understand. I went to my friends, and they told me what had happened. After what they told me, I knew the girl's mom was right. It was my fault. Here's the thing with death. When you could have done something to change what happened, you always think about it. Every day, every minute, every hour. I'm thinking about what I could have done to stop it. But the truth is I can't. I have to learn to face the truth. Otherwise, I will never forgive myself, and I have to at least try. No matter how I think about it, I always think I killed someone, or someone died because I wasn't there when they needed me. I know that for the rest of my life it will follow me. You can never forget. You can only forgive and move on.
Hello, my name is Tom Pepper, and I will be reading a poem to you. It's called Sad. A boy stands, his temperament constantly returning his constitution to these contemptible contemplations. Concentration falters amid the consternation of these concerning conceptions. The damnable prospects parade their way athwart his face. Don a smile so they won't peer at the perturbations of destitution. But the deplorable prospects shatter the pleasant facade that was born upon his face. The internal onslaught operating with tenacity, turning his mentality to an enormous atrocity. Thinks he's losing his sanity, even more so his vanity. His mind an anomaly. But when he feels subsided, by his mind he is guided, and although he is internally divided, he is provided with the surety to work for the unprovided. His ruminations egomaniacal, a fact undeniable and unjustifiable, but is he liable for this diabolical cognizance? Anamnesis of his nemesis give him this disease of constant unease, and no one hears his pleas as his meager strategies aim to please bring him to his knees, unable to appease his precarious consciousness. He fears a reprise, to look into the eyes of his cohort and be despised. That's it.
name is Amber, and I will be reading you a riddle. What am I? Have you ever thought about what made you who you are? Why you act the way you do? What your emotions did to help you? I have. And I want you to figure out this riddle that is about things that make you who you are. I won't share the answer with you, but you will have your own opinion on what the answer is. I know it, and I won't tell you the answer either. And I hope you'll find it. Let's get started. 4014-43470. Numbers that made you be you. No, I don't mean your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, none of these people. The person I'm talking about is you. Now you may be wondering, how is this thing me? Let's take it in the perspective of you. That's how it was written and said. Don't be afraid though. You'll just turn into another one of me. We wouldn't want that to happen, would we? Love 4014-43470 of fear. 4014-43470. What does it mean to me? Well, it's what I turn into when you get me aggravated. And that's right, it's me. Anger. Let me tell you about the things that you do to me every day and why I'm never invisible. Every day, every single day, you all do something to me for no reason, which makes you visible. To show you the side that you should be afraid of. The side that always changes. Don't ever think it's me when it was you. You. Always you for no reason. And I'm always nice to you by not doing anything serious. Just stop. Please. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see less of me. I bet you didn't think anger could be so nice. I'll see you tomorrow. 4014-43470 of anger. 4014-43470. What does it mean to me? Well, I don't really know how to express this. We don't really see it. Well, unless I fail. Don't consider me as a child. When it is when I face the fact that I fail. Fail. A word that I hate. I can't fail because when I do, I turn into this. Sadness. I can't fail because I want to show people that I'm more. I can't fail because I need to be happy. I can't fail because I will get hurt. Hurt. Another word I hate. That's right. I hate getting hurt. And I can't get hurt because I will know the truth. Truth. The thing that hurts the most. Something we should all be afraid of. Don't tell the full truth though, because the truth can hurt you or the truth can change you. The question is, what will the truth do to you? 4014-43470 of sadness. 4014-43470. What does it mean to me? Well, it's amazing. I love it. You can't live without me. I know it. You always see me smiling, always laughing. I'm never alone. Laughing at jokes that are funny to me, not to the person affected. Smiling at things that I should frown at. Some wonderful life, right? Well, it has to be since I'm still smiling. Stay positive. 4014-43470 of happiness. 4014-43470. Of course, I'm the last motion to go. Probably because I'm always here. Yes, I know. Anger's always around, but I'm more important. I'm the one that reflects on everyone's actions, everyone's steps, everyone's words, and just ask myself, what if this happened? What if that happened? Why did this person do this? Why didn't this person do that? Then I ask myself, what did I do? Did I stay away because I knew what would happen? Did I just stare and get mad? Did I let it happen and cry later? Did I just laugh at it, or did I bow my head in shame? Well, that's with other people's actions. Now, what about mine? I don't consider anything I do a mistake, because it builds me up as a person. I need to be the same person for the same reason, but that reason is still in questioning. It will be found someday, but not anytime soon. Sincerely, 4014-43470 of confusion. These emotions weren't picked for any random reason. They were picked because they are the emotions I use every day. Without them, I'm nothing. For this riddle, everyone will have their own opinion about the answer, but the writer is usually the only one that knows the real answer. If you're confused, think of it as a poem. It will impact you in a different way than others. Therefore, you have your own opinion. but the writer will always know the answer. Just don't tell anyone what you think. They might just change their opinion. You need to keep your opinions no matter what. Thank you for listening, and don't ever doubt us. 4014-43470 of fear.
Hello, my name is Sean, and I'll be talking about an experience I had in my life. There are some moments in your life that will change you forever. One of those moments happened to me on November 18th, 2016, around 8:40 in the morning. I was sitting in the middle school Spanish room with two teachers. You might guess that I was in an ominous situation. I wasn't aware of that then. The room was around 60 degrees, I was facing them, and they were facing me. I felt, well, guilty. You'll see why soon, but back to the room. The most important moment came when 10 words were spoken that defined who I have become in the last 6 months and who I will be later in life. 9 of them came from one of the teachers' mouths, and 1 came from mine. "Is there anything you would like to tell us?" were the words that floated from one teacher's mouth. "No," was the single word that floated out of my mouth. I was lying. They knew perfectly well I was lying. I was just too blind to realize. The day before is where I should start the story. I was in math class and I had just finished the test on combining like terms in algebra. I was so bored, so I just decided to waste time on playing some games on my iPad. I knew perfectly well I wasn't allowed to do this, but boredom overtook discipline in that battle. Teacher Jen started walking around the class. I quickly tried to close out of the tab that had the game in it, but I misclicked. And she saw what I was doing. Immediately I had to give up my iPad. And I was frustrated because I was not giving a warning on my first offense like it said in the acceptable use policy. Because I questioned the consequence, I was now sitting outside in the hall. That was when Teacher Christie came out and asked what happened. I was still a little mad, so I decided to rid the story against Teacher Jen to victimize myself by saying what I was doing was school-related. I'm assuming that Teacher Christie and Teacher Jen talked about the situation because they later confronted me about the alternate version I had constructed. I was then assigned to write 2 apology letters to them for being dishonest. That is the moment where things took a dive. Now, being my bright young self, I decided I shouldn't write an apology letter if I didn't do anything wrong. I looked around online and found templates for apology letters. Now, I may have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for one simple detail. I sent it 9 minutes after school ended. I come to school the next day and I'm called to the Spanish room again. I was pretty sure I had gotten away with such an act, but as you might have guessed, I didn't. The date was November 18th, 2016, and the time was around 8:40 in the morning. "Is there anything you would like to tell us?" said Teacher Jen. I said, "No." "Are you sure?" said Teacher Jen. I said, "Yes." "Well, you sent the letter 9 minutes after school ended, so I was a little suspicious. So I looked around online and found both Teacher Christie and my apology letters word for word. I was mortified. My heart was beating out of its chest and I was getting goosebumps. I eventually gave in and apologized. I was scared out of my mind of the consequences to come. I was sure there was no things tracing back to that website. But I wasn't careful in return. And in return, I learned to be honest. And it was a good thing after all. Honestly, I would not be where I am today without these 10 precious words that shape my values. From this experience of denial and falsehood, I learned something. Integrity is very important in this time in my life. Denying anything and everything may get you out of things, but it will also get you out of that crucial learning experience that comes with it. You'll have your moments where you mess up, but if you take that and make it a positive outcome for the future, there is no stopping you in life. I've seen my friends go through similar experience and mostly have the same outcome. More developed character and maturity. I'm not going to lie and say I've been perfect ever since then. Great person. But I have definitely seen that I'm naturally being more honest after that moment. My hope is that by sharing my low points, you as well can take your bonehead moment, as my mom would say, and it will come and turn it into a learning experience for your character. If there's anything I want you to take away from the speech, it is that. If you can do that, the sky's the limit for your future.
Hello, my name is Aiden, and I'm going to be writing a poem about forgiveness. So enjoy. Innocent, young, and naive, easy to deceive and manipulate. Severed from respect and feeling ignored, on the horizon I could see a storm. Feeling lost, forgotten, and shunned, I wanted to, but there was nowhere to run. It's slowly ending, thank God, but deep scars remain. In its wake, I have an important decision to make: to deny, to act in anger, or to forgive. I'm intelligent and brave, but do I have the strength to take on this wave? To forgive means more than accepting a sorry and looking someone in the eye. Forgiveness means showing who you are inside. It means looking back carefully and sometimes to cry. To have your strong image go with your tears for one moment and die. To forgive means to understand what's on both sides of the river. What you know and truth can greatly differ, even for me. Looking back, all that I can see is what I've been working for is not just to be listened to, but also to be heard and respected. To forgive is seldom done in a fortnight. For forgiveness to happen, you need the bravery of a knight, not only to speak out and stand up, but also to look at yourself with your weaknesses and fault without guilt. To hit the head of the one you blame doesn't win this game. It's to realize, accept, and work upon yourself that will help you win the day. It's to forgive yourself and the other. Learning to forgive is not as easy as we wish. It's quite scary, sad, and often painful. But forgiveness is a part of growing up. Forgiveness is not about changing the other. It's about changing yourself, your view, and attitude. Once you can forgive, then can you truly live.
It's right here. Hi, I'm Lucas, and I'm going to read a poem. The dream of dreams. Dream 1. Of what I dream is the real question. It's hard to keep track of those late night thoughts, so I write them down. Not dreamlike dreams, the floating insignificant thoughts of sleeping, but the deep night thoughts of power and knowledge and a better tomorrow. Dream 2. Another dream, I dream again. Dream of dreams of a dream again. That does not make sense at all, you may say. And you would be right. The carefully tuned clock runs a little wrong every day. And rhymes dilute my point, so I will just stay away. Dream 3. Power and knowledge, I said. Some say knowledge is power, but I like to think of power without knowledge. What can you do? Nothing. Nothing can be done without knowledge. Without power is the same. Knowledge invigorates power for better gain. Dream 4. A dream again of dreams we dream. Dreams fill an ethereal place. A place not bound by you or me, but by what we are. I do not like nonsense, I will tell you that. Not these insignificant thoughts of sleep. But the dreams worth writing about can drive us to a tomorrow of which difference is better than today. Dream 5. The final dream. Why final? Because I just can't remember my dreams anymore. They just fade away, as if they not existed at all. But they did exist, right? These dreams are not going away, right? What if they did? No dreams. Surely dreams will stay, but dream 6. Could there be an infinite of these? No, just a large amount. I cannot tell anymore, can I? I do not like to second guess myself. But I just cannot say. There cannot be an end. But if? I don't want to talk about that anymore. No way. I thought I was going to walk away, but I'm not. I tricked you. Ha. So, since it's my birthday, Teacher Christy let me do something special. It's called alphabet aerobics. I've been working on this for a while, and I hope it's not bad, though it might be. Let's see. Artificial amateurs aren't at all amazing. Analytically, I assault, animate things. Broken barriers bounded by the bomb beat. Buildings are broken. Basically, I'm bombarding. Casually, create catastrophes, casualties, canceling cats. Got their canopies collapsing. Detonate a dime of dank daily doing dough. Demonstrations done, data on the down low. Eat another adders, each and every energetic, epileptic, episode, elevated etiquette. Furious, fat, fabulous, fantastic. Flurries of funk felt, feeding the fanatics. Gift got great, global goods gone glorious. Getting godly in his game with the glories. Hit him high, hollow height, historical, hey, Holocaust tints, hear him holler at your homeboy. Imitators idolize, I intimidate. In an instant, I'll rise in an irate state. Juice to my jams like Jared Cool's, trucking woods, just leads, just me. Writing my journal, I'm kindly kindling all kinds of make on. Karate kick type Brits in my kingdom. Let me live a long life, lyrically. Lessons learn lane lost, just lose my livery. My mind makes marvelous, whose masses marvel and move many mock would have mastered. Knack, no, I'm nice naturally. Knack, never lack, makes noise nationally. Operation, opposition, off, not optional. Outside, out of mind, wide beaming obstacles, perfected poem. Powerful punchlines, pummeling, petty power pups my crime. Quiet, prank, folks keep quiet, it's quantum. Quarrels, I've got a quarter, we got a. Really all raps. Rousing up rapidly, riding the Russian radioactivity. Super scientifical sounds are soft. Silencing fire sap sour too soft. 10 times talented, too tough. Take that, challengers, get to enough. Universal, unique, untouched, unadulterated. The raw, uncut. Verbalize Lord Victoria, valid. Violate vibes are vain, make a mash. Why my world of the wide wordsmith, just weaving up words, weaving up my wordship. Xerox, makes radiation holes, extra large, X height letters inside the phone tones. Yell back, yak mouth, young ones, yaws. Yesterday's yawn, lawn yard sale, I yawn. Zigzag zombies, zoom into the zenith. Zero and zen thoughts over zealous rhyme, zealots.
Marks the end of our middle school arts night. I think every single person in this room helped shape the pieces that were presented today, but I especially want to thank these wonderful and bright students that I have. You guys all did a great job, every single one of you. One last thing, before you leave, please take a look at the art gallery on my right. There's a lot of good things in there. Have a great night.